Hello again, welcome back to another daily buying of Isaac Repentance. It's the 10th of June 2022. Ooh, the 10th of June 2022. It rhymes. Just rhymes, you know. June 2. Oh, near rhyme. If you know what those are. Alright, we'll do, let's see here. Another Eden, and also our Eden tokens is 343. It's 343 Studios. Whatever they're doing. Supposedly there's a bunch of leaks coming out with that. Halo stuff. Seed here is 0NE08, 8Y8T. So what we got here? Man, my screen is so bright now. Like, I was playing our new roguelike called 20 Minutes to Dawn or something like that. Because I seen a couple of people playing it, and it reminded me of Vampire Slayers and Gungeon. With Vampire Slayers meets Gungeon, basically. Looks pretty good so far. Like it's an early access game. Very similar to the, oh my god. What's that one game? Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors is the same thing. They're still working on it. Keep adding new content routinely. So I'm imagining that this is going to be something. Yeah, right. Credit card here, huh? Oh, well. We'll see if we get... I thought we'd be getting the 5 cents there, but I guess not. Let's see, am I recording here? Yes, I am. We're good. Yeah, so there's that. Actually, let me see something here. I want to make sure, because yesterday we had a bit of an issue with frame droppage. We're fine, looks like, for now, until something just, you know, messes up. It's like, oh, by the way, it's gonna stop working, right? All right. So yeah, it's a very interesting roguelike. I've played a little bit. I played quite a bit of Gungeon, but I didn't like beat Gungeon. That makes sense. So, and this one you can't really jump and dodge like that. You just have to run. And if you start the fire, you slow down. Which I think that's the same thing too in Gungeon, I think too. It's interesting concept. It makes sense because you're sacrificing yourself, sacrificing your ability to get out of the way by firing. Oh my goodness gracious. Actually, you know what? We can go back and get that credit card now. Let's go get that. Use credit card in the shop and get a blue candle. We could reroll and get something really good, but blue candle, I think. Wow, we got pretty good damage. No, let's get the blue candle because I don't want to be like, well, credit card. She got the candle and all that in the dirt. Blue candle. Oh, there's our nickel. We'll leave that soul heart there for later. That's not bad. Not the greatest, but not bad trinket. So I guess Xbox, I seen a little bit of a glimpse on YouTube that Xbox and some other like conferences are doing their own, or not conferences, and other companies are doing their own conference stuff for game showcasing. All right, you got me there, kid. I'll admit. Okay, well, whatever. I'm like, okay, so because there's no E3, they're doing their own conference stuff at their headquarters, which is strange, to say the least. Okay, we got this Tears Up, which I didn't like before, but now it's like, the only reason why I don't like it, it's because like this fire rate thing. It's wonky, but then there's an increased fire rate. Apparently. I guess it's like an additional tier out of one eye, evidently, so... I can't tell because, like... Yeah, because of just whatever going on here. Okay, let's go back, get the soul heart. We could, well, no, let's not try to spend money to get a possibility of a soul heart in here. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it. No bomb. Whatever, we'll take the extra soul heart. Be on our merry way. We don't need that stinking tinted rock. Could be just a soul heart anyways, or a golden chest. If it's a golden chest, we would have absolutely no luck opening it. Alright, we're out of here. I don't think I was given a trinket for this character for the start of the run. I just had to find one. So there's that, too. Oh, you little stinker. Like, literal stinker. I'm being blessed by soul hearts right now in this run, so that's good. I've been napping earlier today, too. Like, I didn't really do a whole lot. Maybe it's my body just kind of catching up on sleep still or something, but... 'Cause I've been sleeping in a little bit more now than what I was doing. I'm gonna try to go to bed early tonight, because, like, I am just, like... still tired. I don't know what the deal is tonight, but... I mean, I had some pizza, so that could have been the culprit. A lot of carbs and cheese and whatever else. But then but the problem was, I was tired even before that, before I ate that, so... This kind of accelerated tiredness, I think. So, I don't know. I'm not a physician. I'm not a doctor. Like, if I was a doctor, I wouldn't have time to be... Well, no, that's not true. I probably would have a little bit of time doing one Isaac video a day or something, but, like... I guess it depends on the doctor, too, and how much work you're putting involved with patients and stuff. Okay. So we got all that. We could go to the curse room here. Check out some things. Got a mega pill. Infested. Well, wasn't a bad one. Wasn't a great one either. Oh, fine. Spider baby. Not my top tier choice, but whatever. Got a big old zit on my head. Spider zit. Looks like something from Scary Stories to Tell the Dark. You know, the girl with the pimple on her head? Or no, on her cheek, wasn't it? It's a pimple on her cheek. And, ooh. Let's see. We could take both of these here. Why not? Let's get a little selfish. Though I didn't like how they took the give me soul heart option there. Whatever. We got some coverage. Yeah, she had like a pimple on her cheek. And, I don't know, was a spider that bit her or what the deal was. I forgot the origin story with that. But she got a pimple on her cheek. You know, this is one of those rare rooms where you get, like, no item. I do appreciate the, wooden cross and soul hearts and some consumables. An item would have been nice, but whatever. I'm not too upset. Oh God, he's visibly upset. Look at him. Look at him just quiver. Look at him just shake in anger. Absolute anger. Anyways, yeah, scary stories to tell in the dark. They had a story about the girl, and she was going to school in the bathroom, and she was going to the bathroom and cleaning up, and she sees in the mirror this big pimple. And she was concerned about it, and I think her peers, like her family and stuff like that, was just saying, oh, it's just a pimple. It's, you know, part of, you know, puberty and everything. You know, things happen. And so, yeah. And then eventually, the pimple burst open because it got bigger and bigger over time. And then, like, next thing you know, it broke open and a bunch of spiders came out. Now, I don't remember if the girl died or not. It's been a while since I've read the story, but I don't think she died. She just, like, dealt with a horrific, you know, shock. Essentially, she got PTSD out of it. Like, the spiders coming out of her cheek. I mean, who would? Like, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? Be like, can you imagine? Because, like, everything you knew about spiders are, like, 10 times worse, where they bite you in the cheek and they lay eggs in your cheek and it just comes out of your cheek. And then, like, what do you even do? Embrace it? Did you embrace the cheek spiders? Hell, I want it. It'd be like this War of the Worlds thing where it's like, oh, these damn aliens. Can't trust them. They're coming here to take our resources. Da-da-da. If aliens came to Earth, I'd stay the hell away, like, period. Not even interact with them. If I was, like, the part of the military or something, I'd just get the hell away. See what they're doing or whatever. Prepare for an attack if they try doing anything stupid. Because here's the thing with aliens. I'm just saying hypotheticals. I don't know how actually aliens are. How aliens are and if they do exist. But say hypothetically they do, right? Now, you see in these cliche movies that, you know, humans are trying to make, like, peaceful contacts with them, and oftentimes they attack. And so, with my reasoning behind, like, these aliens, because, like, this is the thing, it's like in these movies, like, oh, these are very sophisticated beings, and they, we're gonna take this with us this time. These are very sophisticated beings, and they harness this great technology. They're vastly more superior in us or tech than anything else. Let's try to communicate to them. Like, okay, I mean, you could try, but I think in my opinion, they would have a totally different form of language understanding. And they may not necessarily be smart beings. It could be dumber than rocks. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know. Dumber than rocks in their own culture, but they're smart enough to build something. You know, it's kind of like, so it's like you don't need brains to do hard labor, right? It's all about muscle. Being muscle strong. Feck strong. They could be something like that. They probably, like, maybe they're just socially inept and they can only speak through, like, telekinesis. Is that right? Telekinesis for thoughts? No, that's telepathic for thoughts. Telekinesis is moving stuff with your mind. Yeah. So, if we're up to me, like, I mean, you could try to communicate to them, but then it's like, I think it'd be mostly pointless. I guess it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, just do it, because it'd be a shot in the dark, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, whatever, you know? I mean, after all, we did send some stuff to space to communicate with them. We're not getting any coherent signals whatsoever, so that rests my case too. It's like, well, you know, either they didn't find it, or it doesn't exist, or, like, they don't know what the hell we're talking about. Like, and I think if they do exist, they did find it, they would have no clue. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give them credit, be like, oh yeah, they're pretty smart, but how do you know? They could be dumber than anything. Maybe they made just too many happy mistakes to where they can, like, where they can, like, make space travel or something, you know what I mean? Like, possible. Like faster than light. Oh, yeah, about faster than light. But you see, that's the thing, like, I was watching a video recently talking about, like, they were measuring the G-force out of these sophisticated UFOs, which now they call it UAVs. Is it UAVs? Something similar between UFOs and UAVs, but it's something mixed together. They're like, oh yeah, okay, we've been in there. Oh yes, these UAVs or whatever. And they were like measuring the G speeds on these things. And it was like, it's not even not even a human can survive that. Like being in there, which makes sense. A human. Now, you could probably potentially you could make an argument that, like, well, maybe they have some kind of tech in there to where it completely protects them from the G-force that's being inerted through the atmosphere. And they can also drop, like, they define the laws of physics too. So, like, now, if there were aliens, right? If there were aliens, weren't they at some point, many decades ago, would have done something on Earth to be triggering some kind of event of something of such a magnitude, you know what I mean? They could go to a small little town and just do something to people. Now I've heard about, like, the whole deal with, like, what do you call it? Abductions and the probes and all that other stuff. I know about that. I've heard about that, but I don't know. I can't really make that determination whether that was true or not. So I'm talking about, like, real hard evidence, like something where it's like, here's some photographs of them vaporizing a cow or something, you know, or running their UFO in a tree. Now, you could probably make the argument as well that the governments around the world are covering up the whole UFO thing, because they've been doing that for a while, up to, you know, several years ago. And they probably have contacted, interacted some way of somehow of whatever the hell these objects in the sky are. And so maybe the reason why we're not seeing anything is because it's been, well, see, that wouldn't even make sense either. Because if it was covered up or something, somebody would have been photographing whatever that's crashed down, right? There could have been, like, this and that going on for decades. The only thing you're getting is, like, stuff that's going up in the sky, zipping around, and then diving down deep in the sea. And stuff coming out of the moon. Are we alone? I don't know. I'm alone here. Except with you guys, I talk to you guys, but, like, I'm just saying, like, you know, realistically with, like, you know, not by online but standards, but, like, in-person standards, I am alone. Oh, no, that's not true. I seen a spider the other day, and it was going out. I left it alone. It's going around eating, like, bugs. May die someday, because there's probably not a whole lot of bugs that get in here, but you never know. Maybe there'll be other bugs, other spiders. They just eat other stuff. Hell yeah, brother. Shut all your spiders. I used to kill spiders over the years, but like now I've grown to appreciate them. Catching mosquitoes, catching all sorts of like weird things that shouldn't be like crawling around and stuff around here. But anyways, going back to the point with UFOs and stuff, like let's say you got something crashing down. Of course, you know, there's a theory too about Project Bluebeam and this hologram thing. Of course, there's also some people arguing about like the whole I don't want purgatory. I mean, it's okay, but I don't think I'm gonna really need it here. Making the argument about like, oh, what is it? About the moon is a hologram. There's like much smaller amount of people that believe it. But the moon's a hologram and some other things, and I like there used to be YouTube videos about it, but not so much anymore. Like it's kind of hard to find, really. that was a thing, or is a thing, but while the blue beam sounds very plausible, I'm not going to outright deny that that's not a thing, because there's been documents and there's also been... I mean, the government's, you know, got some sophisticated tech that we don't even know about. Just because they show you, oh yeah, this is the latest tech with the military, they got something far more superior. They're not going to just let you in the know about what they've got. Period. Like... From what I was told, for someone that was in the military, they've got tech. So back in the 90s when I was serving in the military, they had like computers that were like what we see in the 2010s that they were using. Like, I don't know what he means by that exactly. I assume like the performance and everything. But you could make the argument too that like, while military tech is going to be more prioritized to be much more advanced, because you can't just have like a civilian, you know, computer and be like, this thing's slower than molasses. True. But also you want to build something that's going to be far, even much more superior, and probably much more sophisticated, and it takes advantage against the enemy. And you don't want anyone to find out about it because you don't want the enemy to be in the know. Which is this constant battle of, you know, an arms race. Constantly. There's always going to be a constant battle. So as such, I'm kind of leaning towards the UFOs being a type of experimental craft. As much as people say that, like, well, the G-force, well, they could figure out how to dampen that. Like, it's possible. So I'm kind of leaning towards that. I'm not leaning towards aliens. Now let's say they can't do anything with the G-force stuff. You know, I mean, it could be a drone. Somebody made an argument about a possible sophisticated drone thing. Which I can see that as a more likelihood if it's going that fast. Nothing on there would survive. It's kind of like we send probes out to like planets and stuff. They're not meant to have people on there for a reason. Especially the Mars. Oh, why is there no oxygen in this chamber? Another like stuff. Keep me alive. Why am I suffocating all of a sudden? Machines don't care about that. They'd be like beep boop and give me more uranium. Because they run on uranium. So I'm leaning towards between military, some sort of military project that they're just pretending they don't know what they're talking about, but they do. Government's, I mean, after all, government's not going to tell you everything. That's what how government functions. They don't tell you everything until you have truths. But another thing I'm leaning towards is like, okay, so let's say they are telling the truth somehow. Very marginalized, insignificant amount of, you know, percentage where it's like, oh, they're telling the truth. Oh, we got sci-fi. Then we could say like something where it's like from another dimension that isn't aliens. As in like, oh wow, this is something demonic maybe. Maybe it's something that's posing as aliens. Who knows? Because for the alien theory, it's like, okay, well, the closest star is a light year away, another star. And then you have to like, I mean, you could argue like, well, they could have had much as sophisticated time. Oh, they had much more time to work on it stuff. I'm like, yeah, but like, this is red key, by the way. This is actually pretty tits. Yeah, I mean, you could make that argument. Someone was making an argument recently about that. I've seen a video about. Got type 2 generation or whatever it's called. I don't know. Not generation. What is it? A type 2 and type 3 civilization. And they could be in between type 2 and type 3. But, like, that's just theories. That's the thing, my dude. It's a lot of theories. I mean, the whole thing is theory. Because we don't know what is what, you know? Hell, we haven't even finished going down the deepest depths of the ocean. We still got discoveries down in there to look for. I mean, now we got, like, things flying around in the sky and diving down the ocean. See, I'm kind of leaning towards... Because when I'm hearing about the ocean thing, diving down in there, and all this other stuff, it doesn't make a sound, much of any sounds and propulsion and everything. I'm thinking this is like something up from a different dimension, right? Like something like out of Doom. I'm not saying like, oh, well, the demons of hell are, you know, coming out of the Doom portal. I'm saying like there's some kind of like something ghostly about it. Could be ghosts. Maybe they're ghosts and they're zipping around as UFOs, shape-shifting, you know? Could be military. But I'm kind of leaning between military and the other thing. Aliens? I don't know. That sounds very... very unlikely. I know about like the different potential habitable worlds. I know about that, but the big problem though is like, one, it's just theories. We're not entirely sure. Two, we're looking at things like many light years away. And if you know some things about science, like astronomy in particular, like, I think for every light year that something is away, we're seeing things that are literally 1 year ago. Because it's like this strange concept that, and that's if that's true too, but they think it is. But like, scientists think that it is, where it's like, if something is 1 light year away, that's equivalent to like, we're looking at the past from far away. See what I'm saying? So if we're like, you know, a few million light years away from Earth, and we could see it like hyper close and everything, then, like, if we're gonna able to zoom in just enough to see the continents, you're gonna see like, you know, a noticeable shift from way back when. I assume if you had well, I guess a telescope. See, this is what gets complicated because the stars, you see the light, what's leftover light from light years away coming to us, the photons and stuff like that. So what we could see. And so those stars are already dead long ago. Now I think, whoops. Now I think, I don't want that. It works the same way as planets. I haven't learned much about that, like growing up, you know, in science classes and stuff. So I assume it does work the same. And so I think, you know what, maybe I did learn about that. It works the same. Because, like, someone pointed out that analogy to me years ago. Or not analogy, but, you know, that concept. So if you got, like, a high-powered telescope, you can see how Earth was, you know, X amount of time based on X amount of light years. Now, I don't know if you get a telescope and you could go right up to like Google Earth standards, where it's like you could see all the details and everything, to where it's like you zoom down, then you can make sense of all the everything that's there back then. See, that's what gets a little sketchy, because I can understand about light. The photons, they're still traveling, so you can see the concept of the stars and everything else that were once there. But I'm not sure if you just zoom into a planet that it'll be the very same thing. You'd be seeing like these whatever beings were before us, you know, dinosaurs or something. Well, dinosaurs would just probably be much further away in a few million years, but you know what I mean. You see probably cave people or whatever walking around. See, that's what the theory gets a little sketchy there, because it's like, okay, well then the star thing I can understand, but like the planets, and if you zoom in, are we going to see a bunch of little dinosaurs if we were like a few hundred million light years away and we had like a very high powered telescope? Like, can we actually make the determination that we can see that stuff? Photons, yeah, you can. That's been proven. I'm not sure about planets. I thought you can with planets, but it just doesn't make sense. That's a paradox. I mean, I think it's a theory too, so I don't think that's necessarily, you know, guaranteed to be true. So this could be just a theory, because that's what life is. It's full of theories. Theories, assumptions, all that stuff. And we get a lot of things wrong all the time. Okay, here we go. Got all that stuff there. We'll take this. And this. And this. And this. Alright. We'll take this just in case. So my point is, with something like this, how far away did these supposed beings are, if they do exist? It's a pretty far distance to be coming all the way to Earth and not doing anything but zipping around. And there's supposedly a UFO recovery thing, according to the hearing from last year. Of course, you hear about Roswell, which I actually had a dream about driving the Roswell, funny enough. But for different reasons, not for aliens. Assuming that was the case. But, it's like, oh yeah, it's like the senator or someone's like, yeah, we have this spacecraft the government has. I can't talk about it because like it's confidential. It's like, okay, well, you're talking about like this is what throws me off, whether they're lying to me or they're telling me the truth. Let's see here. We'll take the Polaroid. Yeah, we'll get the twisted pair. Double trouble and make wait. Let's see. Prepare for trouble, make a double. That's what I was gonna say. It was like they get the UFO hearings, and it's like, okay, we're gonna classify them as this name. We still don't know what these are. We're just letting you know, hey, it's a concern to us. We don't know what these are, but it's a concern to us. And then as a separate center, talk about, yeah, we got one on hand, the government does, but I can't talk about everything about it. I'm like, that's a little sussy. Oh my god, that was extremely lucky with me finding that room. I say extremely sussy, because it's like, oh my goodness gracious. Not what I expected here. I don't need all these keys. Gosh darn it, game. Yeah, I say it's sussy because it's like, oh yeah, we just so happen to got a very sophisticated fast craft. And we can have a senator to just come out and say like, I think it was a senator or something like that. And it was like, come out and say like, yeah, we possess like a very sophisticated piece of technology that can zip around and defines the laws of physics. And not to mention that we don't know what it is, and da. Like, yeah, that's like highly sus. Either it's like, you know, a couple. Oh, look at that. Do we get one of these things? Oh, we got both of them. All right. We're getting lucky tonight. See, this is like another thing. Like, say hypothetically they do have it, right? Because you hear about Roswell too. I don't know what's true and what's not. But the whole thing, like the truth's out there, as they say in what's that show called? X-Files. Say if they do. You know. Whatever. I mean, I guess in the end of things, like, how does this affect me and why should I care? I guess that's what boils down for me. They're not coming over here crashing into my place. They haven't gone around to kill anybody. Oh yeah, we neutered the spikes here. It's like waiting for the spikes to come out. Like, where the hell are they? I don't know, like... The whole thing kind of stinks up to high heaven in different ways. And you only have so much information to really go off of, too, so... And it's only coming from... mostly footage from people recording it. That's if you could take it seriously in some cases, because, like, you don't know whether this has been doctored or not. Or being excused to being something else, even though it could be very well be the UFO. There's just so many different moving pieces. So, like, how does that impact me? Very little. I mean, we went through many generations. You know, thousands of generations throughout people's lifetime, and we didn't have to deal with aliens or UFOs or whatever that cause any significant harm to us. And no, I'm not taking the Ancient Aliens television show as canon because they keep misquoting people and doing a bunch of nefarious things in order to draw, you know, an audience. I mean, that's television for you. But yeah, so like, nah, should not impact me, and why should I care? I guess I just brought it up because, you know, I dreamt about Roswell for some reason going there. Or on the way there. And I'm like, yeah, you know. Aliens. LOL. Or UFOs or whatever. I mean, it could be the shape-shifting lizards for all I know. I could be the full and not even, you know, put them to consideration. I remember seeing videos about that too, about like, you see these TV screens and there's like these glitches in the video feeds you typically see with cameras and stuff like that, and then people would make this assumption. It's like, yeah, check that out. It's, you know, that moved or something. You know, this happened or whatever. So you notice this going on, and off the time it's just like either a TV, like a technical glitch from the cameras and the video feed and stuff, or it's just someone's like, you know, face spasm issues or something like that. Because everybody's got like a lot of, you know, unconscious activity going on within them to make them react to certain ways, and their body's kind of like showing that, which is part of being human. Alright, let's see here. Where am I? You're in Isaac, silly goose. Of course, another theory that gets thrown out there is the simulation. We're living in a simulation. And they're just throwing projections to us, like the UFOs, and try to distract us from the real truth. What's that real truth? I don't know. Alright, let's see here. Take this guy down. Tango down, tango down. I mean, you can believe what you believe, but that's just like I'm not trying to diss anyone with their beliefs with these kind of things. It's just like, for me, how I kind of objectively see UFOs and stuff like that, what my theories are on it, like, it's just based on limited experience, and also like, I'm going off by certain little things, you know, like, I don't have any definite proof that these are like aliens or some futuristic military craft that we're trying to keep it hush hush, or if this is like some kind of demonic being from another dimension. I can't tell you with certainty what that is. Oh my God. All I know is the truth is out there. So I'm quoting X-Files. I'm not going to be quoting like that show That's So Weird, which was like a 90s show, which was basically a ripoff to the X-Files, only as a kid's version of the X-Files, if that makes sense. There's a girl who, well, her whole slogan was like, that's so weird. Every time there's like some arbitrary thing that surfaces, and she's like, that's so weird. That's so weird. I didn't really watch a whole lot of it. I wasn't really interested in that stuff when I was a kid. Like, it was cartoons, man, not like... I mean, I guess I got into Boxcar Children, but that was like, that book was like way before my freaking time. This book series. It's the only thing I had to read in school. Oh, one of the few things I could read in school that was available to me. Like, Bloat's been neutered. I just took down all of his eyeballs. Oh, we found it. Hail Satan. I know it's like one of those double room things, but I wasn't gonna go around the whole map and then theorize where what can be where. I'm using my charge. In the darkness and the light. Like, that's the damnedest thing too. Even though I didn't really watch the show so much, I remember the damn intro. Like, that's been over 20. Yeah, it's been over 20 years, but we're going on almost 30 years now. When the show came out. I don't know how short-lived it was. I might just go back and watch an episode and just see how it was back then for me. But they had a girl in there. I forgot what her name was, the character. But she was the main character. I think she probably possessed some kind of ability to or she was a leader of some sort of, like, figuring out this kind of paranormal stuff. I'm kind of curious how that show ended. Like, if it just ended, like, abruptly and be like, oh, yeah, you're not going to know what's going to happen in the conclusion of the show until we decide maybe we do a reboot. In the darkness and the light. But yeah, basically it was a kid version of the X-Files. Is what that was at the time. Because back then there was a lot of experimentation of, like, medias to be kid versions of this or spins off of that. There's a lot of that. Nowadays you got, like, people trying to do remakes and reboots of their own thing or sequels and mostly screwing everything up. I mean, we had the whole Air Bud thing where it was like, there was all these Air Bud movies coming out constantly. Air Bud this, Air Bud that, and I wasn't even into Air Bud, period, but like, I keep seeing video previews when we got VHS tapes for things and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, Air Bud, or like, Disney would promote it. Oh yeah, Air Bud. Hey, you remember Air Bud? Well, guess what? We got more Air Bud. This time he's a secret agent. Hell-bent to avenge his partner of crime. The airiest of buds. Ooh, a golden one of those? Nah, I think we're gonna... Oh, stick with this. Well, what? Actually, you know what? Let's see something here. I think it gets us 2 flies, right? And then probably other perks. You know what? Let's... Oh, hello, spikes again. Well, we're not gonna have to worry about spikes in the angel room. Right? Yeah. Because we got the angel room next. And then, like, we got the chest, which doesn't have any spikes to my knowledge. Unless they just so happen to put them in there, and I haven't discovered those yet for random seed generation stuff. There's not as many spikes in the angel room, though, but, you know. There still would be some, but I think we're okay. And the reason why I brought up earlier, too, about ancient aliens is I've seen videos and example after example of them misquoting archaeologists and other people to try to twist a narrative with it. It's happened time and time again, so I don't take them seriously. They're just like reaching pretty hard for an audience they're trying to grasp, and it's not History Channel anymore. It's more like conspiracy drama theory filled channel. So I just take it with a grain of salt. The saltiest of salts. Alright, where is this room? This special room here. Let's try something. We got a lot of these. Ah, could be in here. Which, speaking of History Channel, I forgot to mention. Oh, what was that actor's name? That just died recently. He was from Pawn Stars. Like one of the sons died. I hadn't watched that show in a while. Like I used to watch that a lot back then. It kind of took me aback. It's like, what? He died? Because I know the grandfather died at some point, and this other guy did, and I'm like, damn, unfortunate. All right, that's our second guppy item here. Like, I don't know if the show's still around or not. I assume it is. I think it is. It's been ages since I last watched it. Oh, you stinker. Like, if I had something like that kind of UFO thing, going back with UFOs. Yeah, I keep bringing it back here, but hear me out. Having something like that, like, what do I... Like, I guess the benefit would be traveling much faster, and it'd be much more safer, and I assume maybe less costly. I don't know what kind of energy you would have to put in that thing. Like, gasoline? It'd probably be something much more sophisticated than gasoline and, and whatever else. I guess just faster travel, but like, if someone were to just wield something like that, like any average Joe or whatever, like, they're gonna kill a lot of people. Like, straight up. Like, either accidentally or intentionally. And then what the hell are you gonna do? So there's part of that is like, well, you know, if they got a hold of UFO and they released the tech plans to everybody, then it's like, you got people driving supersonic speeds, something in which has never been seen before. And they're running into walls and buildings and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's bad enough we're having issues with, like, people causing, causing car accidents through different ways, especially drunk driving. And it's like, you want them to be wielding a very sophisticated piece of tech? If that's ever out in the open? I sure as heck want it. I sure as heck would not want the military to have it either. Like any military. Forget that. Forget trusting them with anything with that. Because if one military has it, then the other ones would have it too. That's another thing that's to think about. Now you think about it, like, well, say the U.S. military is having access to that kind of tech, like, and they're pretending that they know nothing about it. Wouldn't they eventually slip up and have it leaked like the other stuff that's been leaked over the years of other military, blueprints? Because countries do that a lot. They all try to steal each other's, like, homework and try to replicate something. Like in the movie, like I was reading an article some time back about the movie, I'm blanking on here. Maverick. The Chinese government thought that the Blackbird or whatever it was, the Blackbird type vehicle that was going over Mach 10, was something based off a real aircraft. experimental aircraft that the military was talking about years ago about having, that they were working on. But in actuality, it was actually like something else. This was just like some other kind of created aircraft thing for the film. It wasn't the top secret thing that they were, I guess, unveiling. Like, they wasn't showing them, but there's like, I guess there was either a lake, or if there was this, either it was a lake or it was a theory or something, but there was nothing to really have photographs of. And the Chinese government thought this was the thing, but it wasn't. It, like, for me, it looks like a typical Blackbird. You know, it goes. I think they go on the edge of space, and they go like at a certain speed, and they can be undetected by radar to some degree and stuff like that. I think it's been around since like the 70s. So that's what it looked like to me in the film. Definitely didn't look like, I mean, it might have been a more advanced version, but like, I don't think it was like something meant to be like, oh, this is the advanced thing they're talking about. Well, unless, I think that's what they were referencing to in the film about that particular aircraft. I don't think it was the F-18s or whatever it was called. Could have been, but again, if that's what they were talking about for an experimental craft here, then no. I think those might be just the regular jets. This other one looks like more different than the others. In the sense of like, you know, you've seen it briefly and it was a weird looking thing. And no, you know, now I think about it, it was supposed to be the experimental craft and the in the movie, but it wasn't its actual design or, you know, specifics on it. That's the one. Okay, yeah. I had to think back on the movie. Backstabber, huh? That's how I feel about when you backstab me in this game, my game. Hey, we got an extra little buddy here. You know, we could just like pop a couple of these and just do this. Go full exploring here. Off-roading. See, maybe we find some extra little goodies in the off chance. See, actually a good point I have there. Hey, you say yourself you got a good point. It's implying like your movie was like the greatest movie ever and only you can make the determination. Well, what I mean is like, it's a fair point, I guess I would raise with saying like, well, if it's military, then someone would have stolen it by now, right? Somehow it would get out. Somehow, like, you know, you got military people talking about it with other people. Or leaking plans. Now I know that goes against the whole, like, what's that called? What's it, the Espionage Act? Something like that. Someone's gonna be bound to be telling somebody about it, you know? Sending pictures to somebody, be like, hey, yeah, check this out. It's the coolest shit or what? And that thing would be, like, as soon as that gets leaked, then it'll spread like wildfire on the internet. Like, there's no stopping that, period. Once you put it on the internet, it's there forever. You can't just shut down the entire internet after someone uploads a photo online. Like, or a video of it. Like, oh, our cover's blown. I mean, there is a kill switch, I guess, for the internet, apparently. And an emergency broadcast system switch, too, where it just, like, sends across all devices on your phones, television, broadcast networks. I'm not sure about well, probably not computers. Well, maybe. I don't know. But they have something set in place for something like that, for emergency broadcast system, for state of emergency from the president. We're not going to be doing that. Be like, oh yeah, we're shutting down everything here. Just to tell you, like, one of you had exposed our craft. Yeah. And we're causing like a bunch of mayhem against these guys. Look at that. Anyways, enough about conspiracies and theories about what ifs. This is a very interesting room in here too. Let's see if we can get some more items before we try a roll on them. Should have taken that backstabber though. But how would I know I found a reroll room with this setup? I want it. We were very powerful indeed though. Good fire rate, good damage. A lot of good things happening here. Sci-Fly coming into the clutch. I don't know what that meat sound is, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Now on the plus side, if we had like harnessing that kind of tech, that's so weird, like things right there. Let's do it. Maybe this will be giving me an opportunity to Mega Satan. Maybe. Just maybe. Polydactyl, not so much. There could have been a very small chance of getting a get out of jail free card, which would have opened Mega Satan. Very, very small chance. Infamy, whatever. Okay, well, it is what it is. The intruder. The gang's all here. Wait, was there anything in here? No. Well, we had a pretty good run here, nonetheless. We outs. Also, speaking of aliens, there's a game that was remade. I haven't really got around to see how it was, like how it turned out, but it looked pretty decent. It was a remake of Destroy All Humans. I used to play that when I was younger. Never got around to play it. I assume it'd be like kind of, you know, it doesn't have much replayability and stuff because it's like, you know, remastered and stuff. And it's nothing wrong with remasters. It's just like it's doesn't have much replayability because of how it was designed back then, and then how they restored it now. Kind of like with Spyro, I beat in Spyro, you know, the first 3 Spyros, I did 100%, so it's can't really go back to it right now because it's like I could probably go back to it later, but right now it's like, you know, one of those games where it's like I just can't play another one again. Now, Isaac and stuff, it's fine because there's a lot of replayability because there's a lot of variations changing. Anyways, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.